What's up, family? It's your boy King L Bay. Um, Getting started here. Let me go ahead and check the Facebook. Give me a second, Give me a second, family. Give a little people some time to come on. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Try to give enough people enough time to come on. Come on, family. I'm trying to get the people in here. Let me see. Trying to get everybody in here. So let's get in here, family. Let's get in here. I'm waiting on everybody to come on in. Come on in. I got 3 people so far. I'm trying to wait for everybody to come on in. Come on in, and we're gonna go over this presentation. I'm waiting on a few more people so I don't have to backtrack. So let's before we get started. There's 5 people I see coming in. So we're getting ready to get started. Okay, let me see how many more people coming in. We got 5. Let's so let's talk about here come the swindler. He finna here comes somebody, here comes some haters. Like the haters. Let's so I want y'all to understand the mission. What is the mission? Okay. So I want you to understand why all crimes are commercial, and let's get into what is the mission of the Internal Revenue Service. It says to provide American taxpayers top quality service by helping them understand and meet their tax responsibility and enforce the law with integrity and fairness to all. This mission statement describes the role and the public expectation about how the IRS should perform that role. In the United States, Congress passed tax laws to require taxpayers to comply. Taxpayer role is to understand and meet their tax obligation. The IRS is to help compliant taxpayers understand the tax laws while ensuring that the minority who are unwilling to comply pay their fair share of taxes. So now let's go to the statutory authority. The Internal Revenue is organized to carry out the responsibilities of the Secretary of Treasury under Internal Revenue Code 7801. So I want you to understand this is the code. These codes been adopted by who? Congress. The Secretary has full authority to administer and enforce internal revenue laws and the powers to create agencies to enforce these laws. Hold on, family. I got an issue. My nose like to run. Got a real bad cold. Ah, just like to work my nose. The IRS was created based on this legislative grant. The IRC, Internal Revenue Code 7803, provides the appointment of the Commissioner of Internal Revenue to administer. I want y'all to look at this word, administer, because we're dealing with administrative law, and supervise the execution and application of the Internal Revenue laws. So I want you to understand what's going on with the Internal Revenue and your relationship to that, and why the Internal Revenue and Congress, right? How they intersect. So let's go to the. I want to show you the diagram. Let me see. Did I pull up the diagram? I know I had the diagram. Let me get the diagram. Stop sharing. So let me go to the diagram. Let's go to the diagram, family. Islam family. So this is the diagram. I want y'all to see this. The Department of Treasury, Internal Revenue, right? This is the executive branch. I want y'all to know it started in the See, they try to trick you, right? They say, oh, these are Article 1 courts, which they are. But they're going through Article 2 enforcement. So you got the Chief of Appeals, the Chief Communication Liaison, the Commissioner, Chief of Staff, National Taxpayer Advocate, Chief Counsel, and then you got the Deputy Commissioner of for Operation of Support, Assistant Commissioner for Operations, the Deputy Commissioner for Service and Enforcement, Chief Financial Management and Security Service, Chief Financial Officer, IRS Human Capital Office. I want you to see this. Human Capital Officer. Human Capital Officer. So when you go to like HR department, the human resources, right? You the resource. You is the human capital. I just want to bring this up. You are the human capital. I want you to understand that. You are the human capital. So I wanted to show y'all these charts so you can start understanding what's going on. Yeah, I got a troll. Yeah, I got a troll. You know, people just want to hate when they ain't got nothing else better to do in their life. So I'm trying to show you your relationship. And the reason why I'm trying to teach you your relationship so we can stop making these grave mistakes. When we go into court, when we're dealing with all of these issues, we know what to raise. So y'all don't say, well, King L. Bay said anything. King L. Bay is showing you your relationship to everything. So now you can understand when you're dealing with administrative law. I want you to understand that you're dealing with administrative law. And I want you to understand it's under general law. So let's go back over some of the stuff that I've been talked about before. Let's look at administrative law, because these are administrative agencies. Administrative law refers to the branch of law governing the creation and operation of administrative agencies. The power granted to administrative agencies are particularly important, along with the substantive rules that such agency make. So you got to know the substantive rules. What's the rules that the agencies be making? This is why you got to come under, when you look at the civil rules of procedures and stuff like that. You are under what they call administrative law, do administrative practice under a general law in accordance to this jurisdiction. They're using multiple sets of law based on the category of law that everybody is a taxpayer. Based on you being a taxpayer, you fall in the category within one of these Federal Reserve districts. Now I want you to see what this word, because I like this word a lot. And the legal relationships between agencies, other government bodies, and public at large. I want y'all to understand what this word relationship is. You create this relationship. Hey, Kitty Boo, do me a favor. Give me that tissue over there. It's about your legal relationship. Everything is about your legal relationship. So once you understand how they're pulling you into jurisdiction, now you can understand what you need to combat. Sorry, family. I know I don't want my nose to be running on camera. But I need y'all to understand these things, right? So, administrative law encompasses laws and legal principles governing the administrative and regulation of government agencies, both federal and state. I want y'all to understand administrative law encompasses laws and legal principles governing the administration and regulation of government agencies, both federal and state. Agencies are delegated by powers of Congress, or in the case of state agencies, the state legislature. So, I want you to understand how this works. You have the Congress, then you have the state General Assembly. They are under Congress. They are congressional authorities. We are all in a federal district. This is why you in the state of New York, the state of Texas, the state of California. It is not California state. It's not California State Republic, New York State Republic. We're in a democracy. Democracy means mob rule. We're dealing with a Federal Reserve System once again. So now I'm giving you this so now you can trace the sources of your steps. So now you can start better articulating what you need to do with the courts. Because what you don't understand is where they're going to hit you at. And I'm going to show you this. So we're talking about your tax identification number, right? So let's stop. Let's share the screen. Let's go back to what I'm saying. So let me show you. A tax identification number is an identification number used in the Internal Revenue Service in the administration of taxes. It is issued either by the Social Security Administration or the IRS. A Social Security number is issued by the SSA, whereas all TINs are issued by the IRS. So I want you to look at it. Social Security Administration. You're dealing what? With administrative law under a what? In general law. In general law, based on the what? State. It's under general law. So you need to understand what is they saying. Under everybody who is there, when you go into these courts, they're administrative courts. They're nothing but administrative courts. And you fall in a general category of law by legislation. So you need to understand that. So what is general law? Let me break this down for y'all. And I know some of this, I'm going back over this so that we can better understand. So I can show you why once you understand your status, which is your tax exemption status, and I'm going to show you something because I'm going to tie this into treaty. I got all of this popped up, pulled up, so I can go through and roll through this information real quick. So y'all can start seeing these things are not done by happenstance. These are done by treaties that trickle down through these domestic policies, right? Because we're dealing with international law first. You got countries that's within countries. Like you got Africa. It's a lot of different countries that sit right next to each other. And based on their nationality and all of that and their treaties, right? Once these treaties fall into these get ratified and fall into domestic policies so people can have these contracts within reach so that they don't cause conflict because they don't want to go to war. You hear me, family? So let me continue this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we're gonna talk about the word exemption, and I'm gonna break it down for y'all. So we're dealing with the Social Security Administration. So let's get back into this, and I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna fly through this because I ain't gonna keep y'all here all day. Taxpayer identification number. Now the Social Security Administration tell you that the Social Security number is not for identification purposes. But you look at the conflict right here. Social Security number. It says tax identification number. Employer identification number, EIN. Individual taxpayer identification number, ITIN. Taxpayer identification number pending U.S. adoption, ATIN. Prepare taxer identification number, PTIN. So if you got a prepared tax identification number, a PT, it says if you are a tax preparer, you must have a valid prepared tax identification number. Okay, use of the PTIN no longer is optional. If you do not have a PTIN, you must get one by using the new IRS sign-up system. Even if you have a PTIN you received it prior to September 28, 2010, you must apply for a renew a PTIN for using the system. If all your authentication information matches, you may issue the same number. You must have a PTIN for compensation preparing all of the federal tax returns or claims to be found. If you do not have one, use a W-2 IRS prepared tax document tax identification number application. The paper application will take 4 to 6 weeks to process. If you are a form preparer who is unable to get a Social Security number, please see the instructions on the new requirement for tax return preparers. So, foreign person and IRS employer identification number. Foreign entities that are not individuals. Let's say this again. Foreign entities that are not individuals, foreign corporations, etc., that are required to have a federal employee identification number (EIN) in order to claim exemptions withholding because of tax treaties claim on W-8 need to submit a SS4 application for employer identification number to the Internal Revenue Service in order to apply for an EIN. Those foreign entities form SS4 for the purpose of obtaining an EIN to claim tax treaty exemptions in which otherwise have no requirement to file a U.S. income tax return, employment tax returns, or excise tax should comply with the special instructions. I want y'all to listen to. Should comply with the following special instructions when filling out SS4. When completing line 7B form SS4, the applicant should write NA in the block asking for Social Security number or ITIN number, unless the applicant already has an ITIN or SSN or ITIN number. When answering question 10 on SS form, the applicant should check the other blocks and write or type immediately after in one of the following phrases as most appropriate. For W-8 purposes only, for tax treaty purposes only, require under regular form 1.441, i.e. E4 VWW 1897I elections. Let me ask y'all, is any of y'all doing that? Let me ask y'all, is any of y'all following these? Let's go. Because I'm trying to tell y'all, are any of y'all following these special instructions? Is any of y'all following these special instructions so you get tax exempt? Is any of y'all putting for tax treaty purposes only? Or are y'all putting these both in there? When filling out your tax forms, when going over this and checking it off. I really wanted to point that out to y'all this morning. This is why they talk about making a special appearance, because you're dealing with the special instructions. When you go into court, you got to automatically object and put in a special appearance because they're dealing with you. They're coming under administrative law, dealing with you and your status. They say that you owe a debt to the United States because you're dealing with tax obligations. If you've been following me, I'm not going to go over this whole thing, right? It's already 11:26. I'm trying to get everybody to understand what's going on, right? So you can see the information for yourself so that we can go over this stuff, right? I want to go over this stuff and fly through it, right? So let's go back over. I went over the stuff. I showed you. Let's look at the federal. I'm trying to do a recap so some of y'all can get the recap and look at the information so y'all can understand how to deal with this Federal Reserve System. This is what it's all about under the recap. If you All of these states, you're in a Federal Reserve district. You're in the Federal Reserve district. When y'all start talking about status, the only status that they're caring about in this Federal Reserve district is two things. Or you got taxpayer status, or do you have a tax exemption status? There's only three things you can do with a tax. You can get a tax credit, tax exemption, or you have a tax debt. These are the three things that you can only do with a tax. So I'm showing you the boundaries of this district because I went over this. Okay, now let's go back over. Now let's look at some of the stuff. Now let me show you general law so you will understand what general law is before I start moving on to the treaties. Let me just show you some stuff. So you won't say, King L. Bay made up, is King L. Bay saying this? No. So let's look at general law. And when you look at the statutes, I'm going to show you something about the statutes when you first go in. A law that affects the community at large. A general law as to distinguish from one that is special. I want to say this again. Under special law, they got a thing called special law. Tax exemption status, under these special rules, under the special category of law, falls under a special appearance with you going into the court. If you don't understand why you're doing everything, I'm showing you how to trace your steps so you can be effective in what you do. So this is not a guessing game. If you guys are guessing, if people can't show you how to trace your step, show you the source of law, they can't break it down for you, they cannot show you, be careful of what you're doing because they can't show you how this stuff operates. Special or local is a law that embraces a class of subject matter jurisdiction, or places, does not omit any subject or place naturally belonging to such class. Once again, let me say this slow. Or places, and does not omit any subject or place naturally belonging to such class. I need y'all to understand that. So if you don't fit under this law, they don't got jurisdiction. I need y'all to understand. So if you don't understand what's going on, right? And I ain't even talk about the foreign asset control. I ain't get into all of that yet. But I need you to understand what they mean by general law. So let's go to Ohio Revised Code. I'm going to put that in. So y'all can go to y'all states. And I want y'all to look at the beginning of everything of what it says, the literature. Because y'all need to read this and understand what's going on. Let me show y'all this. Let me show so that y'all can start understanding where the place of the source of law, so y'all can better start understanding what you don't fit under these categories of law. They just showed you. These are administrative agencies doing administrative rulings when you come on the court based on these what? under the category of general law. All statutes of permanent and general nature of the state as revised and consolidated into general provisions, titles, chapters, and sections shall be known and designated as the revised code. Let me say that to you again. All statutes of permanent and general nature of the state as revised and consolidated into general provisions, titles, chapters, and sections shall be known and designated as the revised code, for which designate the RC may be substituted, except as otherwise in section 1301.07 of the revised code, title, chapter, and section hating marginally general code sections numbers do not constitute any part of the law as contained in the revised code. So these are your commercial laws. These are your UCCs. They are not under your general law. This is why a lot of they come under your general provisions, but they are under commercial transactions. I need y'all to understand that. I'm sorry, family. I need y'all to understand this stuff so you can go. So now let's look at some treaties. And I want you to understand under the Constitution why under the Bill of Rights, I want to show you this. Let's look at this. Because there is no such thing as happenstance. So I'm trying to show y'all the only thing when y'all start talking about status, when people talk about status correction, what is they talking about? I need to correct my status. The only status they care about is you having a taxpayer status. If you exempt, they don't got no jurisdiction over you because they dealing with taxpayers. They're looking with everybody becoming a taxpayer so that they can drag you into court in these federal districts. There are Article 1 courts dealing with administrative law, dealing with taxpayers, obligor numbers. We'll get into that, but let me break down this treaty for you. This is the Treaty of Fez. Now, I want you guys to understand the Muslim and the Christians were fighting. This is when y'all talking about trading with the enemy and all of this stuff come from. Once you start understanding your history. I want you to read this. It is understood that the term most favorable nation used in this treaty does not include the Republic of Central America, which formally constitute one single nation. These republics shall not be taken as a standard as regard to privilege of commerce, industry, et cetera, now granted for which may hereafter grant them by the Republic of Honduras. It is understood the most favorable nation privilege are based upon absolute reciprocity. Why did I want to come to that? Absolute reciprocity. That means if I grant you something, you got to grant me the same thing. When we're dealing with the most favorable nation status, dealing on a treaty, I want y'all to understand whatever I tell you, it automatically is granted to me. So if I say you got free pass, then means you got free pass. If I say I'm gonna protect your family when you come to my city, right? That means my family is protected when you come to your city. I want y'all to understand when we're talking about that. Shall only be granted to a third party power when the circumstances are identical. I'm reading the Treaty of Fez. We're going to go through some treaties. I want y'all to understand. I'm going to take y'all through a little bit of things so I can show you the correlation of events So when y'all start looking at treaties, y'all start understanding what to look for. What elements are you looking for? Because none of this stuff is not by happenstance. When they drafted that Constitution, they had certain treaties in mind. This is for a reason. All of these things happen for a reason. In witness thereof, the plenipotentiary signed and sealed the present treaty into originals in the city of Mexico on the 21st day of March. Now, I want y'all to look at this, right? The signatory powers, they signed it, right? Now, I want you to say the protectorate treaty between France and Morocco. Because I want you to understand there are treaties still dealing over here. Like Florida is still part of Spain. The way they have it, you got to understand what's going on. The government of the French Republic and the government of His Majesty the Sultan desires inauguration and regular regime in Morocco based on the internal order. I want y'all, we talked about internal revenue, right? We talking about within the borders, lines of the jurisdiction. Order and general security, dealing with general law. Once y'all understand, all this language is not by happenstance. Making possible to introduce reforms and ensure the economic development of the country have agreed upon the following. Now let's look at this. I want to show y'all this. So y'all can look at and understand this treaty, because I'm not going to go over this whole treaty. I want you to look at some of this. Now I want you to understand why the first Bill of Rights, when we talk about religious protection, why I'm talking about your religious exemption, I want you to understand this one more time, why King L. Bay talking about religious exemption and having your tax exemption status through your religious exemption. The government of the French Republic and His Majesty the Sultan have agreed to establish in Morocco a new regime amending of the administrative law, juridical, educational, economic, financial, and military reform which the French government may deem useful to be introduced within the Morocco territory. Remember, we're dealing with, when you talk about treaties is law of the land, and we're talking about what? The laws of nations. Don't get this stuff twisted. The European powers came together under a compact, under a treaty. They all came together. I want y'all to understand this. I want you to understand this. Okay? Now, I want y'all to look at this. This regime shall safeguard the religious status. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold on. We're talking about treaty. This is what everybody, you see the correlation? This regime shall safeguard religious status, the respect and traditional prestige of the Sultan, the exercise of the Mohammedan religion, and of the religious institutions and their particular, those of habits, it shall admit of the organization and of a reformed Sharifian magazine. I want to say this to you again. This regime shall safeguard, protect the religious status, the respect and traditional prestige of the Sultan, the exercise of the Mohammedan religion and of the religious institutions, and particularly of those of the habits, it shall admit of the organization of a reformed Sharifi magazine. Why do you think King L.B. talking about the religious exemption status? Y'all thinking that this came out of some happenstance that these people... No, they had treaties in mind. That is the First Amendment in the Constitution. Why is that the first? Let me take you somewhere else, because this is the Treaty of Affairs. I ain't even done. I can show you more correlations. We're going to continue to go over more information so that you guys can start seeing things with your own eyes, make your own decisions by being able to trace the information. So you can understand why these people were writing certain contracts and putting certain things in play. Hold on. Let's go to the Treaty of Affairs. Now let's go to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. I'm going to show y'all something. Everybody think that King L, I don't make up nothing. I'm going to take y'all with the article at. I highlighted it. What did I do with it? I think it was... Oh, I didn't highlight it. What treaty is this? Is this the Treaty of Affairs? No, this is the treaty, the Barbary Treaty. We're gonna get to that one too. Let me get to this. Where the Treaty of Peace and Friendship at? Here we go. This is Treaty of Peace and Friendship right here. Let me show y'all something. Let me show y'all when you're reading what you need to be looking for. Open your eyes and start reading. The purpose of reading is very fundamental. I think it was 16. Oh man, I tried to highlight it. It must have didn't highlight. I was trying to highlight it, but I want to show you something as it relates to so let's just go through it. I'm gonna just show you some things. The commerce. I want to first show you this. First, these are Muslims. These are Muslims. I need you to read this. I'm not going to go over this because I want to go through this a little faster now because we're 45 minutes in. I want you to understand, in the name of God, the merciful, the cleaning. I want you to, it says, Abidin Arabin Ibn Kashim, whom God exalt. Praise be to God. I need y'all to talking about these treaties. They're written in Arabic, and they're talking about Muslims. When you hear the Mohammedans, we're talking about Muslims. We're talking about Muslims and Christians fighting. So when you hear the word trade with the enemy, you talk about these Muslims and Christians. They had to get along. So the copy of this treaty of peace, which have been made with the Americans and written in this book, affixed thereto, our blessed seal, that with the help of God it may remain firm forever. Forever. So when you try to use your tax exemption, all your stuff dealing with your treaties, you got to understand where you're coming from. So I'm trying to go back through. I'm trying to show you where the word exemption come from. I want to show you the word exemption. I had it highlighted, but I guess when I clicked out, I thought it was down here. I thought it was. I wanted to show you. Now, I want to show you this one. All goods shall be weighed and examined before sent aboard, and avoid all detentions of vessel. No examination shall afterward be made unless it shall be proved that the contraband goods have been sent on board, in which the case the person took the contraband goods on board shall be punished according to the uses and customs of the country, and no other person whatsoever be injured, nor shall the ship or cargo incur any penalty or damage whatever. So, why is that very important? Why I went over that? Because you know when your foot gets stamped and all of that, that's cargo. They treat you and your birth records as cargo. As a merchant. See, voluntary servitude is not illegal. See, under treaty, that would be considered, if you object, that would be considered contraband. Y'all got to understand when reading these treaties what to look for, why you doing all of this, what is being going through your head. And I wanted to go through this. Let me see. It got to be, it says, I think it's 15. Merchants of both countries shall employ only such interpreters. What does they talk about? Merchants of both countries shall employ only such interpreters. Where you think the lawyers come in at? Merchants of both countries shall only employ only such interpreters. I want to show you this is where your attorneys come in at, because they're the only ones that can interpret the law. And such other persons to assist them in their business as they shall think proper. What is they saying there? Think proper according to the law. So you a taxpayer, you volunteer to get a taxpayer, you need to have a taxpayer advocate, you need to get some attorney because he can interpret the law for you. No commander of a vessel shall transport his cargo on board of another. He shall not be detained on port, and then he may think proper, and all persons employed in loading and unloading or any other labor whatsoever should be paid at the customary rate, not more than less. So, what is the customary rate? Y'all are taxpayers. Y'all taxpayers. I'm showing you a lot of this stuff y'all ain't even looking at because y'all don't even understand how this relates to you in accordance to treaty. And we're gonna go back to that. So let's go here. Merchants shall not be compelled to buy or sell any kind of good, but such as they shall think proper, and nary buy and sell all sorts of merchandise, but such as are prohibited to other Christian nations. I want y'all to understand that you guys who are taxpayers, This stuff falling into merchant law. I'm going to show y'all this, right? It says commerce with the United States shall be on the same footing as the commerce with Spain. What are they talking about with the commerce with Spain? Because Spain is a Christian nation. The Muslims in Spain, Spanish was fighting. Muslims would get killed if they professed that they was Muslims in Spain. So they had to hide it. We're going to go through a little bit of this stuff. I'm going to show you. As the most favored nation from time being, and their citizens shall be respected and esteemed and have full liberty to pass, repass our country and seaports whenever they please without interruption. I want to show you something. Remember, when we talking about reciprocity, the law of nations being under reciprocity. So, as a Moor, and we talk about having the right, you're supposed to have the same right of reciprocity to pass and repass and go through the country unencumbered. This is why you got to learn the treaty language to understand what's going on. So I'm trying to go back. I'll find it. It's somewhere in here. But we're gonna go to the treaty, the Barbary treaties. I try to have everything set up so I can fly through this, family. But I want you to understand this stuff as it relates to everything and go through so you can see. Yeah, I'll paste those into the chat. So I'll paste those so you can start reading over this, right? Because I'm going to start going through some of these treaties with y'all so y'all can see some of this stuff. Was it here? So we're going to talk about this while we keep talking about religion. I'm going to show you why we keep talking about religion. This is what it says. As the government of the United States has in itself no charter of the character of enmity against the laws, religion. Hold on, let's go back. I want to show you this. I just want y'all to read this for yourself. As the government of the United States has in itself no character of enmity against the laws, religion, or tranquility of any nation, and as the said states have never entered into any voluntary war or act of hostility except in defense of their just rights on the high sea, it is declared by contracting parties that no pretext arising from religious opinion shall ever produce an interruption of harmony between the two nations, and that the councils and the agents of both nations shall have the liberty to celebrate the rights of their respective religion in their own house. Why King Albay want to bring that to you? Why King Albay bringing this to you? Come on, let's go. Let's go to the United States Constitution. I want y'all to understand this stuff. So y'all can't say, well, King Albay said anything. Go back and read over the treaties. I'm going to show you something in the treaty. I'm going to show you. I'm going to go back and I'm going to find the word exemption in the treaty. Let me show you everything. I just didn't do it yet. I just want to show you some facts, family. I want to show you how to look at documents and understand what's going on. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Do y'all know what the word free mean? That means unencumbered. They can't encroach your religious exercise. They don't have no jurisdiction. Free is free. Or abridge the freedom of speech or oppress or the right of the people to peaceably to assemble and petition the government for redress of agreements. Why did I read that? When they say people to peaceably assemble, what does they talk about? Under the treaty, when it said they have the right to their own religions in their own house. This is coming in context with the treaty. None of this stuff was just a guessing. These people weren't guessing. These people were following the laws of nations. I want y'all to get that. So you can start understanding the context of why I'm saying all of this. If people can't show you and trace the language and show you and put you in the proper thing so you can start understanding what's going on. This is not a guessing game. This is not a guessing game. Either you understand or you don't. Either you know it or you don't. I'm telling you this so you can understand about your tax status. If you got a tax exemption, if you fall under a religious institution and under your own house, they can't force you into a jurisdiction. They can't interfere with the obligation of contract. Y'all don't get it. If you incorporate under a statute, then you agree to be governed by that law. I'm just showing you stuff so y'all can understand that this is not a guessing game. And this is the problem. There's a lot of people showing you, telling you what to do. There's a lot of y'all don't even understand how to set up your trust, don't know how to do everything. I do. I'm going to show you how to do everything. This is why I'm setting up the master classes. We're going to set up everything to show you, let you see it for yourself. I'm not making this up. I'm showing you this. So let's go back, right? I want to go back to the treaty. This. So what is it? F. I want to do the search. Oh, hold on. Oh man, wait a minute. Oh, what is it? F. I thought it was F3. There it is. Now let's find the word exemption. Oh, exempt. Right here.
Yes.
So it says under this, right? Let's look at the word exempt. A signal or pass shall be given to the vessel belonging. Hold on, let me share the screen. I didn't share the screen. I'm sorry, family. I'm gonna share the screen. Let me hit y'all with this, right? It says, here we go. A signal or a pass shall be given to the vessel belonging to the parties by which they are to be known when they meet at sea. And if the commander of a ship of war or of either party shall have ships under convoy, the declaration of the commander shall be one to be sufficient to exempt any of them from examination. What do you think the word exempt means? Exempt any of them from examination. So let's go to the IRS. Let's go back. Because I want to show y'all some stuff, right? Because it's already 12 o'clock. Y'all need to understand certain things, right? Y'all need to understand why it's talking about these vessels, and we're talking about this tax exemption status, and we're looking at these vessels, right? They're using what they call arbitrary, um, they're using maritime arbitrary law in these administrative courts. And it just told you under treaty, I'm just going to show you once again, when you meet at sea, a signal or pass shall be given by the vessel. What's the signal or the pass? We talk about your tax exemption status, by which it shall be known to me at sea, and if the commander of a ship of war of either party shall have other ships under his convoy, the declaration of the commander shall alone be sufficient to exempt any of them from examination. Now, you got to understand, it says the word exempt in the treaty. I didn't make up that word. That they said exempt in the treaty. I want you to understand your relationship with the United States through the Internal Revenue Service, breaking this stuff down so that you can better understand your relationship when you talk about how you guys talk about your status correction. You better get your tax exemption status. This is how you get rid of all of these claims, because the only way the United States can bring you into the jurisdiction if they can identify that you have a debt. A claim and debt is synonymous. I need y'all to understand that. I need you guys to understand that. So let's look at this, because so let me start posting these treaties and stuff in there. Let me post this in there. Y'all need to read this. I'm about to go over this real quick. I'm about to post this stuff in there. Let me post the trees. Let me post these treaties. Let me post all this information so y'all can start understanding it's about your tax exemption. I need y'all to understand what do they mean by exempt. So y'all can stop. It's a lot of people telling y'all the wrong thing. They're telling you a bunch of stuff, but they can't trace the information, nor is they showing you a safe place to land. I can't, I'm sorry. I'm gonna answer some questions in a minute. I'm gonna try to get these questions together. I'm gonna try to go over and answer these questions. I then went over the time. I could go back. I could come back to this at another time. I've been on because I don't like doing these real long videos. Okay, it says, can you let me post a lot of this stuff in here. So, did you know that you had an Internal Revenue Bill of Rights? Let me go over. Let me see if I can find the Internal Revenue Bill of Rights. A lot of y'all ain't following these instructions, so you can't get your special remedies, right? Let's go over the Internal Revenue Bill of Rights real quick. I'm gonna put all this stuff in there. The Internal Revenue Bill of Rights. It says Taxpayer Bill of Rights. Each and every taxpayer has set a fundamental right that they should be aware of when dealing with the Internal Revenue. Explore your rights and our obligations to protect them. Right to be informed. Right to be informed. Taxpayers have the right to know what they need to do to comply with the tax laws. So if you have a right to be informed and you have a tax exemption, don't you have a right to be informed on how to use your tax exemption status? Just going over some stuff. I ain't gonna go over right to quality service. So if you got a tax exemption, don't you have a right to quality service? Taxpayers have a right to receive proper and courteous professional assistance in dealing with the Internal Revenue Service, to be spoken to in a way they can easily understand and receive clear and easily understanding communication from the IRS, and to speak to a supervisor about inadequate service. The right to pay no more than the correct amount of taxes. If you got a tax exemption status and they say you don't owe any taxes, you have the right not to pay any taxes if you know how to use your tax exemption status. Understand your Bill of Rights. You have a right to challenge the IRS position and be heard. You have a right to raise objections and provide additional documentation. Remember I told you when you go to those courts, you get your memorandum of law. Here's something that you can use. Your taxpayer's Bill of Rights. Get a certified copy of your taxpayer Bill of Rights. You have a tax exemption status. Get a certified copy from the IRS. Get a certified copy of this Bill of Rights from the IRS. File it into your memorandum of law with your affidavit in support of your tax exemption in accordance to the Bill of Rights, with your evidence, with your tax exemption status, with your other religious documents. I'll be in the class, I'll be teaching y'all these things, man. The right to finality. What do they mean? Hold on, I missed one. The right to appeal the IRS decision in independent form. Taxpayers are entitled to a fair administrative appeal of the IRS decision, including many penalties, and having the right to receive written response regarding the Office of Appeal decision. Taxpayers generally have a right to take their cases to court. So the IRS got their own court. You can get all of this once you get your tax, once you get your stuff. This is where y'all having a problem, man, because ain't nobody teaching y'all these things. And this is what I'm here to do, to show you how to pinpoint, how to present your case, how to get your exemptions, because everybody telling you all this stuff, but they can't show you how to move through the jurisdiction. It says right to finality. The taxpayers have a right to the maximum amount of time they can challenge the IRS position, as well as maximum amount of time the IRS have to audit a particular tax year or collect tax debt. Taxpayers have a right to know when the IRS has finished the audit. You have a right to privacy. You hear? They talk about due process. Due process. Taxpayers have a right to expect the IRS inquiry, examination, and enforcement action will comply with the law and be no more intrusive than necessary and respect all due process rights. Sorry, family. Including seizures and search and seizures protections will provide where applicable in collections of due process hearing. All I argue is due process. I don't even argue nothing else. So it says, I ain't gonna go through right to confidentiality. You can read this for yourself. Right to retain representation. Right to a fair and just taxation system. So, keep telling y'all once again, you are in federal districts, and these people, you got to understand this information, family. Stop looking for people to sell you these lies, and they're not telling you the truth and showing you how to land. I can give you specific details. I can show you more. I'm going to do some more. I'm going to save some of the a little more saucier stuff, right? But I need y'all to see what I was saying in this so y'all can start. Now, I want to show you one more last thing before we get up out of here so we can talk about treaties, and we're going to talk about this, right? Chapter 5, Peace Treaties with Morocco and the Ottoman Empire in the North African regions, right? But I want y'all to understand, right? Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. I want you to look at this. Reason why I'm pointing to Muslims. It says, at this point, it became clear that Spain hegemony belonged to the past, and their nation had accepted the decline of its empire. Pressure from England and France forced the elite of the Bourbon states to adjust to the new times, and in the spirit of reform, they focused their attention on the Mediterranean. A new policy began to emerge, vis of vis the Muslim enemy. Why am I talking about? Who no longer seems so fearsome as before, to assure the defense of Spain's southern flank and navigation under Spanish flag, the monarchy began to seek stable and permanent relations with, Morocco, the regencies, and the Ottoman Empire. The Bourbons took some time to develop their negotiation with Muslim countries. We know little about North Africa and the Levantine policies of Philip V and Ferdinand the Sixth, but occasionally dealing do not seem to have borne fruit. The most notable episode was Timid approached the Regency of Algiers. Its envoy visited Madrid in 1701 in an attempt to ensure Spain neutral in its conflicts with Morocco. I'm just trying to show you. They thought did not last long because the Algiers seized an opportunity during the War of Spain's secession, conquered Oran in 1708 and held it until Spain reoccupied it in 1732. So I want y'all to understand Muslims in Spain. I'm showing you this right here. And it talk about all the different things you need to go through this. I think I might go through this on my next episode to show you, the Muslims and what was going on with the Muslims. And I'm trying to show y'all that these were Muslims. We're talking about trading with the enemy. We're talking about all of this stuff so you guys can see Muslim. You see the word Muslim, Muslim. They serves in Spanish Muslim trade. I'm telling you, the gradual process of signing treaties between Spain and the North Africans and the Ottoman rulers brought about an increase in trade in the two sides. In exchange, Spain imports of wheat and barley dominated as they had in their previous countries. They have has been research on this trade in relation to both the northern African countries and the Ottoman Levant. I, I need y'all to look at this, right? I posted it in the chat. The Treaty of Peace, the gift economy and local customs and the market. When Christians and Muslim countries establish peace relations through capitalization, y'all think capitalization and treaties, capitalism, each side understood the agreement in its own way. I want y'all to look at that. The Muslim powers designated all Christian lands as Dar al-Harb, the house of war, as opposed to Dar al-Islam. They believe in a divine right, that the divine legitimacy to any juridical order except their own. In Islamic land, the law Sharia with fire as if formed of jurisdiction gave Muslims a monopoly of power over protected minority communities, which enjoy a form of legitimacy and internal autonomy, but always in a subordinate status. Christians could live there as long as they recognize Islamic rule and obtain safe conduct for travel through temporary truce or peace agreements were possible. The Ottoman port conceived of its capitalization from France and England in the 6th century and the Low Countries early in the 17th century as unilateral promise of security, even though the contradiction that underlying principle of reciprocity that for the Europe was a droit des gene or law of nation. Y'all need to know what this word means. Droit des gene or law of nation. The Ottomans saw themselves as making temporary voluntary a concession based on the amen or safe conduct, which would have to be renewed whenever a new sovereign ascended the throne. They considered European consuls and other representatives residing in the empire who were actually laymen and as head of religious communities who were granted the privilege of conducting their international affairs. The European nations that imposed those capitalizations were forced to accept the status of protected minorities at least until the start of the 18th century, as long as the Ottoman Empire could still present itself as a great power. I want y'all to understand that. This is why the Europeans, or if this is where the conflict come in. Because when we was in power, they had to take the protection of protected as minorities. They was under our footing. You got to understand what's going on. Y'all can read this for yourself. I just wanted to break this down. I want to show you there's no happenstance. We got to understand this stuff. And I'm trying to break this stuff down for y'all to understand this information so you can absorb it. So now y'all can stop playing with this stuff and people can get and understand how they need to move. Well, stop using throwing around terms, status correction. There's no such thing as such that. I'll get into other topics in later time. I'm gonna show you about E1 visas. I ain't even let me show y'all this before E1. We talk about visas and stuff like that. Talk about statuses and all of that. But let me show you what about a religious visa, right? E1, E1, and we can first go over religious visa. R1 visa. See, a lot of y'all ain't nobody teaching y'all how to come in and deal with the jurisdiction appropriately. Get these visas and stuff. Y'all coming in, y'all ain't nobody showing y'all what to do. You see this? Non-immigrant grit religious workers. You know what an immigrant is? Someone who's been granted citizenship. You got these religious visas, ministers and non-ministers in religious vocations, occupations may come to the U.S. temporarily for a purpose of performing religious work. Y'all ain't nobody teaching y'all this. Y'all coming in under U.S. citizens. I'm trying to come in as a non-religious worker. They got also treaty. Let me show y'all something. They got treaty investors. Y'all ain't seen nothing. Let me show y'all some other stuff. E1 treaty, E1 visas. I ain't even breaking down all the stuff that some people ain't. You're not a U.S. citizen. You're not a part of the District of Columbia. E1 treaty traders. Of an Immigration of Nationality Act was amended, right? May request additional documentation. All right, I'm just showing you some stuff. Once you get this stuff together, right, an alien entitled to the United States under the purpose of provision of a treaty of commerce and navigation between the United States and foreign states in which the alien is a national, or in the case of an alien who acquired relevant nationality through a financial investment has not previously been granted status under the subparagraph, the foreign state of which an alien is a national in which the alien has been domiciled for a continuous period of 3 years at any point before applying for non-immigration visa. So you got to understand what is a non-immigrant. What is a non-immigrant? I want y'all to understand. Y'all ain't got y'all paperwork. Immigrant. What does that define? I'm about to get ready to get up out of here. I just want to show y'all, right? What do immigrant mean? I'm gonna show y'all how to get to the money too. So don't believe I don't know how to get to the money. I just had now I'm on a roll. I'm gone. So let y'all know if y'all don't catch me in the near future. I'm trying to get all of y'all together so we can come and build this thing, show y'all how to move. Immigrant, a person who comes to live permanently in a foreign country. If you're a non-immigrant, then that means you didn't come to live in that country, you know. So you're supposed to have, a lot of y'all don't understand what's going on with your rights because you don't got your proper paperwork, you ain't got none of that, and you don't know how to present this. So remember, the state of New York, the state of California, state of Texas, the state of Ohio, state of Indiana, the state of Missouri, the state of Kentucky, the state of Virginia, the state of Illinois. I want y'all to understand you are in a Federal Reserve District. That is not the New York State Republic, Ohio State Republic, Kentucky State Republic. You're not in a republic, you are in a democracy, and under that democracy, they're telling you what the president is doing, and you understand it's not a Republican form of government. They tell you all the time, if you're in a democracy, you're not you're under this district of Columbia. And we're dealing with taxes. So, do anybody got any questions? Child support, anything before I get out of here? What questions? Let me see. It says, what's your take on ownership types like vehicles or private land structures? Do they have the authority to confront me for the land use? I'm not tax exempt, exercising my religious freedom. So you got to get your paperwork together. So let's break this down about your tax exemption status. Everybody, if let's say you want to go get a driver's license, okay. So first of all, we need to know what state you're in. So in Ohio, you got to go to the Department of Taxation. You will get your state exemption tax on that level. You want to get all your exemption. Some states have it on both sides, some states don't. So I want you to understand, if you are not going like to the BMV, giving them your religious tax exemption status, do not give them your social security number. They're supposed to give you a special plate. So you got to call, you got to contact the Department of Taxation and all of that stuff, the Department of Commerce. You got to have all your paperwork on file. This is what I'm going to show you. This is what I'm going to start showing you about the contracts, because the name of the game is contract law, right? Y'all need to see the contracts and see it for yourself. Y'all need to understand the game, the nature of the game. If you're dealing with child support, you need to come from under that. Stop working under that social security number. Stop working under the social. You can go in and change your tax. I told you right here. They told you. Let me see if I can pull it back up. Let me see. Are y'all following the special rules? Let me see. I'm gonna put that. Did I put that in there? Oh, here you go. Let me put this in here. Make sure y'all follow these rules. I'm putting them in the chat so y'all can see the rules. Make sure y'all follow these tax rules. It says, when answering questions 10 On SS4, the applicant should check the other block and write the type immediately after it one of the following phrases as most appropriate. I'm gonna put this in here. Share my video, family. Subscribe and share to my channel. Y'all got to understand these rules, man. I'm about to get up out of here. I've been on here an hour and a half. I want y'all to go through. I put the stuff in there. Let me see if I can put some more. I'm going to put all this stuff in here so y'all can read it for yourself. Y'all need to understand what's going on. Subscribe, man, to the channel. All I do is drop knowledge, man. Showing the people how to win. You know, it's a lot of Moors that don't want to show you how to win. You know, oh shoot, I closed out a lot of stuff. I'm trying to put a lot of stuff in there. Learn these rules, family. Learn these rules. I'm gonna put this in there. Learn this stuff so you can understand what's going on. It's all about a tax status. Remember, you're in these federal district courts. They're all district courts. I don't care if you're in the state court. You're in a district court. Just giving y'all stuff to be able to look at. So I'm just dropping that stuff in there. So peace and love, everybody. Showing y'all need to understand how to fill out your taxes. Getting your tax exempt status. That's the only thing that require. Religious institutions can own business. Please go watch my other previous videos I did on the live. I'm just gonna show y'all and give y'all the proper demonstration on what you need. For more information, you can contact, right? Contact your boy King L. Bay. Hit me up. Ask me some questions. We work, King L. Bay and Chief Bandolay, we work through indigenous services. I got to talk to the chief about the new number, something about the number. So I'll be putting that information out there. But you can call me. I'm finna have a school for litigation. Y'all guys can come and work with this stuff that I'm doing. I can show you how to move and how to get your stuff together. So peace and love. I'm out. Thank everybody. Thank you. Peace. Love. I'm gone.